Public hearing number 2 for Community Development Block Grant. This is for the adoption of the Citizen Participation Plan and the Consolidated Plan for 2025 through 2029. So we have a draft of the Citizen Participation Plan on the lectern here in City Hall. We also have it on the Planning Department's website. So to start, we are in a 30-day comment period on this and the Consolidated Plan. Both of those started October the 2nd and will end November 1st. So we welcome and encourage public feedback on those. And so to start with the participation plan, the city will conduct 2 public hearings in accordance with the HUD requirements, and they will be held a minimum of 7 days prior to public notice. And also we have the emergency clause, in which case we would need to do virtual meetings. That's not the first preference of staff, but if there was a need, that option is there for us, but it's definitely not the primary option. Once again, I kind of wanted to start with the map of the eligible census tracts here in Gallatin. There are some areas that are not currently in city limits, but for the most part, this comprises 95% of Gallatin. 95% of these census tracts is in the Gallatin city limits. And so these are tracts that meet the HUD definition of low moderate income. And while we could do work outside of these census tracts and prove on an individual case-by-case basis that we're helping low moderate income folks, it kind of makes sense for us with the limited resources that we have to kind of focus in our 3 census tracts that are pretty much a significant part of town, and try to provide some area benefit to the best of our ability with the resources that we have. The HUD local office in Knoxville has been a great partner through this process, and we've been grateful for their support. So where we are with the plan for this is to undertake 3 kind of large public facilities projects to provide sidewalks, to coordinate with elementary schools, but also to coordinate with other city public improvements along Water Avenue, South Water Avenue, and along Bly Street on the north part of town. And we're looking at connecting to Guild Elementary School, providing some connection through the neighborhood there, through to, I believe this is Venus Stewart Elementary School, and providing connection there to Hartsville Pike. And then looking at kind of partnering maybe with Stormwater to work on be part of a larger project along North Magnolia between Union Elementary School and the Shalom Zone. So this is what we're proposing, and then as we kind of talked about the last time. But that's where we are, and we are very much looking at other funding opportunities that provide more stable funds to do other things. And that's a significant part of what we'll be looking forward to over the next 5 years is to figuring out how we can partner with folks in the community to serve and help provide through, because there's a lot of need and very limited resources. So with that, so draft, like I said, next steps for us. Like I said, the 30-day public comment period started October 2nd. Both of these plans, the citizen participation plan and the consolidated plan, will be on the city council work session in 2 weeks for the program year starting August 1st, 2025. And with that, we welcome any feedback that y'all have.
I just missed, so, no, just, I just missed what the plan is gonna be. That it's gonna be sidewalks.
Yeah. Yeah, sidewalks.
So basically,
So-
you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say right now. What the point of doing a public hearing, because the people who were here last time told you they don't want that. So, basically we do a public hearing to hear what the public has to say, but we do the opposite. So what's the point of wasting everybody's
So,
time?
the public hearings are to help us provide feedback for what the community needs. We recognize that there are a multitude of needs across the community in all sorts of ways, shapes, forms, fashions. And we also recognize that there are very specific requirements around the community development block grant funding, the limitations in terms of how and what projects are funded, and in terms of repeating grants. So also there are other programs that are kind of under HUD umbrellas, let's say, but that are maybe better geared towards meeting different needs than block grant. And so this is the city's kind of first round at this funding that we haven't had to go and apply to the state for. And really it's kind of the first time in Gallatin that we've been connected to some other kind of umbrella organizations is maybe the wrong term for it, but basically there are a multitude of community funds that are issued through the federal government for a variety of things. And this is, like I said, our first kind of round of it. And if we are at a point where this funding needs to go to another thing, we can amend the consolidated plan. We can amend the annual action plan. So this is an annual action plan that has to be renewed every year. And then a consolidated plan that works in 5-year cycles. So basically, what we are proposing is kind of for this first go-round. But with that being said, this will be at City Council in 2 weeks. And so we fully...
Do you see any other? So I know you guys are doing a good job. You get grants. You're doing a lot of work. But again, look around you. All right. The last meeting, there was 20 people in a room who made comments. Who told you, they didn't want that because there is probably more urgent things to do in the city that sidewalk in streets. Where again, did you go there and ask the people on the street if they want sidewalk? Oh yeah, so yeah, that would be fun. But our job as a city is to listen to our people.
Sure.
to provide for
Sure, absolutely. So, their block grants have a very wide um, swath of things that they can do. So, um, the kind of going back to the history of it, it started off as slum and blight clearance money and urban development money back in the late 40s, early 50s. That's kind of the origin of this particular pot. So we can demolish homes that are substandard and level those. We can do that for businesses as well. Um, and that is what Detroit's done a lot of that. Memphis has done a lot of that. Baltimore's done a lot of that.
that's
But
what I'm getting at.
yes,
I was under the impression that there were funding for possibly the unhoused, and that's why we were asked to come here in the first place.
correct. So with that, there are a few sorts of funding sources that this can be used for. So um, there is a 15% cap on what of this money can be used for public services. And I worked, the previous community I worked in, um, did it as a one-shot grant, basically to add beds for a local domestic violence shelter. So that is something that we can do, but it is basically the way that the reporting around the funding works is that it is kind of a one shot. Like, I have a year to give somebody money to increase their capacity for service. I don't have the money to increase pay or employees or volunteers or the actual people power to do the thing.
So that would have been helpful to actually know that information up front. Um, and a lot of grants are like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's a big barrier to.
we didn't know what the
And part of
details
this,
were.
we're learning as we go too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to understand all the facets and the differences of what this grant opportunity is. And with it being,
Yeah.
with it being only at that 15% level, it really kind of limits what you could even do with that. I mean, it's a $325,000 grant. You're looking at 15% of that is maybe 40,000, which, I mean, when you think about, money in the terms of dollars, yes, it's a lot of money, but it also isn't when you're thinking of, hey, I need to do some kind of project. And when it comes to, it can only be limited to, increasing someone's capacity type stuff on beds and stuff like that, not on paying a person to come and help or,
Exact specifics that we can use the money. That's the kind of thing, because otherwise, I think we would be wasting our time coming to these things if we don't know what the specifics are.
well, and we we do think, at some point in the future, I think we included that in the consolidated plan, right, to have that as a possible service that we include as part of this. What we aren't proposing at this point in time is to do something this year with that money, right? This year we wanted to focus on doing an easy, hey, let's get our feet wet with, we can do a sidewalk project, and that will help us to, number one, understand and know the ins and outs of how to work the grant, but leaving in there the possibility that you can do that potentially in a year or two or three, whatever, within this consolidated plan we left the availability to be able to do that.
So let me ask you another question. Is the expectation, whenever we get to that point where you will give the money to somebody in the community or multiple entities in the community, are you writing the grant? Or is the expectation for that entity to write the grant? Because this sounds like,
That part's a little bit complicated because it's not necessarily about writing it. It's about the record keeping and the reporting process that makes that part a little bit more difficult. Because, so basically, when we kind of get this through the process and get adopted and do all those things, this in normal times is a normal allocation of money that is included in every federal budget for the city of Gallatin in normal times. So we, in a way, are not having to write a new grant. We're writing new consolidated plans every 5 years. We're writing new action plans every year. And then there's what's called a CAPER, which is the Consolidated Action Plan report that kind of summarizes, here are the things that you said you did or that you were going to do. Did you do the things that you said you were going to do? So, but this is basically, like I said, in normal times, kind of an automatic grant that the city would get.
And automatic grant, I'm gonna have to disagree with that because with federal government, that can be shut down the next day or next year and change the stuff. But again, what I see that we're gonna do sidewalk there, for me, is there is no point of doing sidewalk on that street because there is almost no traffic on that street. And we have entities in the city who need the money to have people who are brushed away for years now. Every time we bring it up, I bring it up a couple of years ago, Paul Jones bring it up last week, Carter came on it, and that got brushed away again. You guys need to realize what's going on in the city and stop and go out with these people. I offered it last year and nobody showed up to go on the shelter one evening and go around and see what's happening, and nobody showed up. Okay, Michelle spent the night at the shelter. I was there at 6 in the morning and see what's happening. I was there the night before. We have a population of people who need help, and we continue to brush them away. And when we have a grant we can use for that, we're gonna do sidewalks. That I can't. I will not vote for that because I can't vote for that. We need to start prioritize what's important and not just what looks good. And that's why people don't trust us anymore, and that's why the room is empty today, because after the last meeting, people left and had the impression that was just a dog and pony show. And again, when you guys presented that at the last meeting, people say we don't want that. We need the money to help our population, and that's not going to help anybody. That's not going to
I
help
would
anybody.
disagree that that's not going to help anybody. It will help people across the board, but I understand your concern.
Just, can you tell me, I missed the first part of it. Like, so what is the red and what is the yellow?
So, for just for purposes of this, so red is this part is school board property, and then the yellow would be what we expect to be in public right of way. So that is Hart and Malone to connect to Hartsville, and then, but we would also, and
So
kind of a broader conversation, look to have what Main Street could look like as well. Definitely a separate conversation, but in the broader scheme of providing walkability and providing transportation options, that would be a larger conversation that we would like to have. But that's
So we're gonna put sidewalk on school board property?
not necessarily. That would be more of, can we partner with the school board to provide this service and make that connection work.
I totally understand you trying to do this, but that's not what's important to people like me. Every day, there are people who come in looking for food or looking for housing. Sidewalk is not gonna feed somebody. There was a couple, as a matter of fact, there was a couple came in before I left. He was a veteran from Alabama on a cane. And they needed food and they live out in Shady Cove. Well, they're not gonna walk on the sidewalk. I'm just saying, you're trying to get your feet wet, but getting your feet wet is not gonna help us currently right now.
So you're talking about putting a sidewalk over there, like where Hartsfield Pike is over in that area?
So Hartsville has sidewalks.
I know.
So it's more kind of connecting the neighborhoods to places that have.
And I understand that one that used to live over there in that side of town for umpteen years, except for during the football games, there's not a lot of people that walk up and down that sidewalk. And I've been here for 45 years.
And I know you're trying to do your job,
Yes,
honestly, but it's just not gonna help. I mean, it's like we're missing the whole point. It's going over everybody's head. That we need to do this, but we really don't need to do that. Because there's just not,
Well, and that's one of the options. I mean, there were multiple
Yeah.
different ones that
Yeah.
have been talked about.
Yeah.
You know, some of them may be better than others, and you know, we're also we are trying to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is not something set in stone yet. Ultimately, city council is going to vote on this and then decide how the consolidated plan should look, and then we're submitting that to HUD for their approval, right?
and you said the work session was when?
2 Tuesdays from today, I believe it's the 24th.
At what time?
It'll be 6. Is that right?
So okay. Is that about a half a mile of sidewalk, that L?
Probably pretty close.
Is that both sides or one side of the street?
It would most likely be one side. It just depends on how wide, how much right of way that already exists in public right of way.
Mhm.
So it makes sense.
So a half a mile of one side of sidewalk costs how much? Is that gonna be like, you're gonna have to do any kind of like drainage work and stuff
That
too?
will-
Cause it's all
I would
just
assume
ditches.
That would be part of it.
Long Street is not that big.
Well, so pretty much all of the streets in Gallatin that were platted pre-1970-ish, 1972, 1973, the right of way is about twice as wide as the pavement. So there is room, we think. There may be places where that's a little bit narrower than others, but something that we wouldn't necessarily do otherwise. And there's a lot of things that make sense. There's a lot of services that make sense. Like I said, so kind of going back to the original question, not a little bit off track, a little bit. So we can do home rehab. We've done different programs with the home grant. I know that name may or may not sound familiar. To do rehab work. And that is something that this money provides for. Um, that would be an option of something that we do. There are really, really, really specific economic development things that you can do. They have a lot of reporting requirements. Could be done, but I
Let's
don't.
shoot for the stars. Come on. That, that, that L shape is not gonna affect a lot of people.
Have you talked to the
not.
people who live along there to see if they even want a sidewalk in their neighborhood?
Fair question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah or no?
Is that the low income?
And my other question wasn't
So-
answered. How much
Yes
does it
or
cost
no?
to put in a half a
That's
mile of
easy.
sidewalk?
So, half mile of sidewalk is around $300,000, and that's the price that we are asking. Yeah, that's the price we're asking developers to pay every time they bring something in too. So, but these subdivisions, I mean, that was built, late '60s, early '70s. Who is going to provide that for them? But,
Maybe they don't even want it.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
They've been living out there all this time, even those that are buying houses or something, they already know it's no sidewalks out there.
Okay, if we're gonna do something that we've never done before, which is help the homeless in the city, for the last 11 years, first 4 years, I'm on retirement. I'm a retired firefighter on disability. My husband and myself furnished the whole shelter for 4 years. Can you imagine taking care of all the homeless, not just in Gallatin, Sumner County is what we take care of. All of them. We go from city to city to city. The city has never helped me provide for the homeless, ever, ever. It comes out of, if I run out of money, then it comes out of my retirement check and my husband's, because we're committed to do what we do. It doesn't come out of First Baptist Church. It comes out of my money and my husband's money if I don't have enough money that somebody has donated. So, I mean, the city has never done that. You get money for sidewalks. Look at how, the city is. You beautified a whole lot of stuff. But you have homeless. And every last one of them council members, city council and county commissioner, they took an oath. I didn't take no oath. I took one to God. They took an oath that they would take care of the people in their district. Every last one of them, except for I can't say him now, because they did have something at their house and got some money for the homeless. Every last one of them, they have failed that population. They didn't say they had to have a house when they took that oath. They've never done anything for the homeless in this city, ever. But you got sidewalks. So I'm just saying, if we're going to do something we've never done before, for those that took an oath, do what you said you're going to do. Take care of the people in your district or in your precinct. Haven't done that, ever. 11 years that I started and ran the shelter.
You mentioned home rehab. Can you do a building rehab to ultimately house them? I mean, just do something out of the ordinary. Come on. I'm not trying to change your little, but yeah, I am trying to change.
Yeah. We need
No.
you
But-
guys need to go back to the drawing board, get rid of that, and listen to what our people want. And right now, if there is home rehab, if we can deal with it, if we can, we need to help our people. And that's not going to help. I'm sorry. nobody walking on that road. The only one is on his mower during election time. We know who it is.
Doing the football.
Yeah, and that's it. So again, that's money we're going to put on sidewalk. And if you don't get the school, that's going to be a sidewalk to nowhere, like we have all
Check,
over
check.
the city.
And it's just
I know.
maintenance forever. I mean,
And
the more sidewalks you build, the more you have to take care of.
yeah, so
I mean, it's just, I don't know,
and if
I
you
just want y'all to think outside of the box and then not just about the city, but about the people.
and if you can find a solution, send me all the stuff we can do, and I can assure you, I will put it out, and people will find a solution. If we can't internally.
And to piggyback on what they're saying, and you know this already, that sidewalk might help some people. The thing about it is when it comes to the homeless and the needy, they're going to be here. And any portion of that grant can turn anybody's life around, especially for the good, even whether it's one night or whether it's for the rest of their lives. Rather than, I mean, how many places in Gallatin that might need a sidewalk? How many developments? How many neighborhoods and stuff all over the place and everything? And I'm really surprised this is what we came up with and everything because, like I said, I've lived on that side of town for umpteen years in the past, and my mother did for 40 years and everything. And I just, except for periodically when there's a parade or the football games, people don't normally, because that's already a neighborhood that's been established for a long time, that's not something, you know, you have some that come walk down the sidewalk and stuff, but
There's a school that goes there. I mean, kids don't walk to school.
I don't see them. I've never seen them.
And
The school,
it is kind of a little chicken and egg.
excuse me, wait, and if they do go to schools, that's not using those sidewalks. They're in those neighborhoods that's back around the school and stuff. I've never seen people really up, and I've gone even Malone, up and down Malone, or even Hartsville Pike, and there's a hospital there, and other little establishments, and I've never seen people just, you know, taking a walk down Hartsville Pike.
That really was the crux of the thought is, hey, we've got some neighborhoods that are near schools and that don't have a sidewalk to get to the school, similar to how like Safe Routes to School program used to be. We were thinking, well, the Safe Routes to School program doesn't exist anymore, but we can help to create some safer routes to the schools.
Okay.
And this was kind of like the thought process.
Yeah,
But-
Those kids have homes though.
Well, not only that, how many times, because I've been coming regularly to the city council meetings for over 26 years, and I'm not saying I remember everything, but it's very seldom I hear about anybody coming over here saying, you know what, we need sidewalks on Hartsville Pike or Malone Street.
and I'm going to ask a question again.
Now, if you build it, some people come, but
The way I function and what I do is that when I think about something, I'm going to sit there. So, did you went to that street during school time at entry school or exit of the school? Did you went sit on the corner back there and see if people use that street to walk? I'm pretty sure no. And that's how we need to start doing things. Weeks ago, I had a lady calling me, was telling me about something about the development. I went there. I didn't bother you guys. I took my car. I stopped what I was doing. I went there, and she was thinking that there was engine moving earth somewhere, and there was a neighbor on the back of the street was drilling a swimming pool. Okay? If I just listened to that lady, I would have barged it and say, why are they starting the development with no permit? All right? We need to start doing things like normal people would do. All right? your money, and someone tell you you need to put a sidewalk there, I'm sure you were on that street looking before saying, I'm going to spend my money to create a sidewalk there because maybe the need is not there, the need is somewhere else. So right now we have a need with our homeless population. We need to take care of it, and I think that's an effort, but that's not what we need. And we need to start listening to our population. We need to start listening to the people who pay your salaries, guys.
So
We need to start listening to the people who elected us. All right? And if there is a way to do it, we need to find a solution. We can always find solutions to do things. There is always a way to find solutions to do things for the best of the staff. So if you guys can find it, and again, when tomorrow morning first thing, send me all the requirements, send me everything we can do with it, send me the grant with everything, and I will spend hours if I have to, but I can assure you, I will take a group of people with me, and we will find a way to get that money where it's needed. Because that's what we need to do. And if you were talking about 1.5 million, we can do a lot of good with 1.5 million.
Agreed.
That was 3 areas, right?
So it's 300,000, 322,000 is what our current allocation is for program year 2025. And yeah, so that would be the expected. It'll go up a little bit over the 5 years, but that was what our math was based on. But yeah, absolutely.
I'm good.
Not necessarily. I mean, the easier way out would be to just do roofs. Do roofs. Yeah. Just do a home rehab program for people who have houses and throw some roofs on there, and demo a house or two every year, and be back in the.
But you know more information than we do, so we can't talk to you. So if we knew what those particulars were, then we could have.
part of our issue also is we've got a very small management staff to kind of deal with this. Jim is kind of running,
Yeah.
taking it on, and he's got other things that he's dealing with as well. So the more projects and things that we split this money up into that we have to do, that's more management time that we have to take Jim away from other things that we may need to have him be doing, right? And I'm not saying that, we couldn't figure that out, but we do manage a lot of projects right now, especially with how fast development's been coming at us. And so, that hasn't been slowing down. And, I want us to try to be able to manage his time or all of our time in how well we're doing this. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to us, going down this road and using some of the money to be able to put towards homeless, even this year. We have to recognize how much can we make our money effective if we're splitting it up so many different ways, right? So
Do you have a time limit?
we have to spend it within a year and a half of the program year that the money is given.
And
So until 20, so now 25, so until mid-27.
26. So basically, everything theoretically has to be done by July 31st, 2026. That's in this year, and preferably under municipal finance stuff, we would want as much as we could be done by June 30th to get in our normal municipal year.
So we have time, okay? We have a new budget coming. Ask for one person more in your department. That's an easy answer.
just a note, if I'm not mistaken, you got 5 people here that are all in agreement, and I haven't had a meeting with any of them about this at all. You have 5 people that's here in agreement, and nobody's here that say, you know what, let's go on and get a sidewalk on Malone Street in Hartsville. That's just a grand idea, and that's only going to be used by those people there in that neighborhood where we can touch a whole lot of people that, whether it's homeless or hungry and everything, in established entities that has been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, so I was just thinking, you know, how you were saying that it takes a lot to kind of manage this, and so my thought was, is this money actually not a good thing, but a bad thing to take? If it's like, if you're going to be building things that nobody says they want, no, just let me just say this, because it, like, think about it. If there, it's like, look, I'm going to give you money, but you have to spend it in these certain ways, and you're going to build sidewalks that nobody said they wanted, but it's going to take a whole bunch of management from staff members, and it's really not a good gift. It's kind of a bad gift. But unless it could be a good gift, because if you're going to do things with it that the citizens and residents of the city are saying, we need this, like, do that. But otherwise, it's a waste of time and money to put a sidewalk somewhere where nobody cares if there's a sidewalk. Do you understand my point?
Yeah. So, I do. The only thing I'll say to that is that Tennessee, broadly speaking, has left a lot of money on the table over the past 70 years because people haven't wanted to deal with the bureaucracy around getting the money. But there would be significant benefits for us using it and not leaving it on the table just because somebody didn't want to put that little bit in to get it done.
There's no doubt about that, and we appreciate the work you do to get the money, but I think we need to put the money where
It makes
where
sense.
it's needed, and
Yeah.
that makes sense. So I think 2 things you need to do, like I said, send me everything. Send me everything. And I can assure you, I will put a group of people with me, and we'll get a solution before the end of the month. And remove it from council until we get an acceptable solution.
We can't.
We can't. Correct.
We're pretty much at the point of having to turn it in or not getting the money. So
Yeah.
November 4th is the regular council meeting.
And we have to have it.
Vote on it, get a decision from council on that date. We have to turn it in by the 7th. Is that right?
I think the 7th or the 9th. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
it's
send me everything, and I will find something.
Well, your citizens here have voted.
we wanted to be through this process a lot earlier, months ago, and we had an issue with them not giving us data that helped us to populate the report, which is still incomplete right now, but we're having to submit it to them anyway with incomplete data that backs up, all the census data that backs up reasons why you do stuff. That data is not in the report because they couldn't get it populated in there. So,
And we've been working with them on that since May.
yeah. But they just said, at this point, submit it to us, and, you know, we obviously are they work with the census data very closely, so they know what's going on about it.
So my suggestion
But,
would be, you gotta do what you gotta do, because we have a deadline to meet. But you have time to work with some people for that next round of money to make sure that it goes to the right place. That's just my suggestion.
well, and again,
But we have time before the
I
first
think
meeting and
even-
that meeting.
I think even in this round, we could probably put something in there that says, hey, here's what we think we'll do.
And it's certainly something that we can put in the broader consolidated plan for the 5 years, even if we don't necessarily allocate something in 2025.
And even if it may not be in the written plan that's there right now online, if it's decided by council, hey, we want to do it this way, I mean, in the few days after council meeting on the Tuesday the 4th of November, we'll